Have you ever seen a web traffic report in Google Analytics that looks like this, where there's just this bump in traffic and you really can't explain it, you don't know what's going on? Well, in this video I'm going to show you 3 things to look at that that'll help you diagnose what's going on with the website. And I've got a property loaded here. There's going to be some parts of the screen that'll be blurred out for you just because we want to protect the identity of this particular web property. But there's 3 things that I usually like to look at when trying to figure out what's going on with a website. Clearly something happened really around May 24th through the 31st of May. And usually I like to look at year-over-year data, depending on the business and the type of business that it is and how you cycles in your business and things like that. So we see there's this giant spike. We see, overall 60%, 61% increase in users, which is great. But why did this happen? Is it malicious? Is there something else happening? So first thing I go to is acquisition, because I want to know, okay, what is driving this traffic change? And we can see all of our acquisition sources here. Really at the top is what's going to show you, especially if you have sources where like organic search and social here drive a bulk of the traffic, meaning, 102,000 users from social and 90,000 from organic search. This makes up the bulk of the traffic on the site. There's direct and stuff too, but really minor compared to the 100,000 users that are being driven to the site. And in this particular case, I want to look at what is making a huge impact. And social, look at that year-over-year difference, 5,000 last year compared to 102,000 this year. So that's really probably the source of what's happening here. Another thing, you can click on social and see if it's a particular property that's driving this behavior, and clearly looks like Facebook, a little bit of Instagram stories. Instagram is really driving that change. You can see this blip here. It's really defined when I'm looking at social. If I looked at organic search, we've got our typical trend lines here. So clearly something happened on organic social that you could dig into particular posts that were made on that day or things like that to help narrow that down. Next thing that I like to look at is actually landing page. So if we go under behavior, site content, landing pages, this is the page that somebody lands on when they get to the website. And again, we see that blip here. And usually what I like to do is look at our total increase in sessions. So the average for the entire site was about 49.6% increase over our prior year. So I want to look at these pages and say, okay, what's higher than average? What's really driving that, pushing that number up? And then what's lower than average, to see if there's anything that's causing that. And really in this case, it's this first page that's really driving all the traffic. It went from 0 to 106,000 sessions. So clearly we know this page is responsible for it. And of course on your screen, it's blurred out. But now I know exactly, okay, people were going to this particular page. And I know the situation with this particular website. We had a campaign that was running during this time that drove that traffic. But this is another place to look to see if there's any pages, okay, lower than the average, higher than the average, what's really driving this change. And really not a lot of activity happening on all of these pages with the exception of this landing page, which had a huge change. Then the third thing that you can look at is if you go under audience, I like to go under geo and then location and just see what's happening from a global perspective and say, okay, a lot of times if it's like malicious traffic or it's like kind of spam or bot traffic or something like that, you'll see it from a particular country that you usually don't get web traffic from. So in this case, we can see that something happened in Brazil. Major increase, went from less than 1% of overall users to now it's 18% of your traffic. So major increase there. So that's something to be aware of. Again, take a look at the average. This is the average user increase, 60%. What's higher than that? What's driving that average to go up, and what's below it? That'll help you diagnose what's really happening. So United States, where the bulk of our traffic is from, didn't really change that much. It went up about 7%. But there's nothing really happening in the United States, but a huge increase in Brazil, actually a pretty big increase in South Africa as well, went from 1% of traffic to 8% of traffic. UK, it's not a huge change, 81% increase, which is great, but it went from 7% of traffic to 8% of traffic. And looking at these changes and these averages, really what's happening is something in Brazil and South Africa and this particular landing page. And I know that it's related to a campaign that we ran on Facebook, and it's driving a lot of traffic to that page. So figured out what it is. Again, those are 3 quick metrics you can take a look at to try and diagnose a traffic issue. First I go into acquisition sources, see what is bringing the traffic in. Then I go to landing pages to see what page people are landing on, to see if anything stands out there. And then finally, I'll go to geo to see if it's anything malicious or bot traffic or something like that, or something that's just regionally specific going on. So I hope this video has been helpful to you. I'm Ryan Fire, and have a good day.